Hey there everyone and welcome to React Native Design. So in this video, we're going to create our very first actual project which can be reused, and basically it's number 2, but it's honestly I'll call it as number 1. So in this video, we are going to create a project in which we are going to create a horizontal scrolling tutorial screens. You might have seen that in a variety of apps, and it's pretty easy. Just when you open up the app for the very first time, app like to give you a tutorial-ish screen in which you can horizontally scroll them one by one and can have like information about your app. So we will not be providing much information about any of the apps such, but really it's going to be almost like a replica of that. So it's pretty simple. Just create a new project and we are going to call this as proj2. First of all, we can call this as proj2, and I'm going to call this as screens. There we go. So create that, and of course I'm creating all of my projects just in this proj2 screen. So in the meantime, it just loads up everything. I would like to fire up my Atom editor and would like to drag and drop this folder, which is proj2 screen, on our Atom. There we go. So it's almost ready, and what I would like to do always is open up an emulator so that I can see everything is working fine. If there is a default, some problems in the generation of the project, and I'm just working on that and find it out later on, it's not a good idea. So it's always good to just give it some time and do that. Luckily, my machine is a little bit faster so that I get open up all these quickly. You can also click on this share button and can scan this and quickly just launch it up on your actual iPhone or maybe an Android device. So it's just building up the JavaScript bundle. It's actually good and it's worthy to wait for a few seconds for that. So there we go, open up app.js. So what we're gonna do for this one is, first of all, we don't need this kind of thing. So first of all, let's create a new folder. We're gonna call this as components. And inside the components, all of our components will usually be residing. Okay, it's a good practice, so you should always follow that. And I'm going to call this as horizontal because this is a horizontal scroll. So I'm going to put a .js. Extension is super important. And also follow the good practice. The first letter of your component should be capital. Okay, this is a good practice. You should have that. So this is what we have. And I'm going to type RNC. That means give me a React component. There we go. And also make sure you call it exactly same. So in this case, horizontal. There we go. So looks pretty good. It says right here, and I'm going to just add one more line here so that I can actually see my content here, and I can just justify content center. Otherwise it just hides behind this top notch and I don't like it. And now I can go into my app.js. And instead of this text view, I can import my components. So I'm going to say horizontal. There we go. And as soon as I save that, it gives me an error, and I'll give you a few seconds to fix this error and pause the video. So I hope many of you were able to just somehow debug this error. It's a pretty common error and you should really be aware of such situation. So the error is we forgot to import that, deliberately forgot, I would call this way. And then you can just have horizontal. It's going to come up from horizontal, and then you can simply say components horizontal. Now notice, don't forget to have this dot slash, otherwise things are not going to work. And just to give you an idea, if I save that, it works. But if I just remove this guy, it is not going to work. Okay, so this dot slash is super important. Okay, so now that we are aware that these things are working, reload the JS. Come on, why are you not reloading? Unable to resolve component. Okay, somehow it's not able to still reload my components. No big deal. Sometimes these things do happen. Reload, come on. We can just do a quick restart. Sometimes these things happen, so don't worry about too much. Just hit a restart here, because sometimes the Watchman is not able to just generate all the dependency graphs. Pretty common. Once it is being done, you can hit a reload, and there we go. Now it's gonna just work fine. Okay, so it's a good idea to just wait for a quick second. the more error you're going to be facing, that means more aware you are of the environment, and it's going to be good for you at the end in the long run actually. Okay, so there we go. Now it's working. Now let's move on to the horizontal scroll, and we're going to add a few items here. So previously we were just working with these view, text and all of that. Now let's bring up our very first guy, which is going to be a scroll view. This is just like a view, but it's allowed to be scrollable. So we're going to call this scroll view. There we go. Now what we have to do next up is have the scroll view as the outermost component. In this case it's view, but we want that to be scroll view. So hold down your cursor here, click here, press your command key or control key and click here, and we want that to be scroll. A quick way of converting the view into scroll view. Okay, so there we go. And the scroll view is somehow making a problem. Okay, I forgot to have C here in the scroll view. My bad. Scroll view, and scroll view. Okay, now it's happy, should be happy. Okay, and we don't need a justify content here in the scroll view, obviously. And obviously we don't need flex 1 even with this container. So we can just have this. There we go. And yes, I know that this is hidden in the top notch. We're gonna get rid of this text. We don't need it right now. Basically we need is 3 views, and we need to have 3 text inside that. So we're gonna have just 1 in this video, and rest we'll do in the next video. So we're gonna have a view, and somehow this is actually messed up. So let me just fix this. This is what we need. Indent properly, come on. So this is our view, and obviously we need to give some stylings to this view and some text as well. So first of all, let's have a text. Close that text, and there we go. And inside that, let's just call it something. So welcome, usually these kinds of messages do appear. Welcome to LCO app, my personal app. And we need to give some styling to this text and view, okay? And make sure whenever you give styling, either you don't just give them, or if you give them, these are defined. Otherwise, React Native is so much prompt with the error. Even just missing a comma or a letter, it gives you a nasty error in the whole app, okay? So let's just have a style, and I'm gonna call this guy as outer, okay? And we're gonna perform a really smooth trick here. Notice it is defined and it is not finding it here. It gives a red error there, really bad. And the good part is if I can just have an outer here, it doesn't really care if it is defined or not. It just needs to have that, and it's solved. Okay, so we're having an outer here, just like that. What are you saying? Can't find the variable outer. Yes, of course, you are not able to find that because it is inside the styles.outer. Okay, and for the text as well, I'm gonna give a style. So style is gonna be equal to styles.inner text. Now you can just call them much more meaningful as compared to me, but right now let's just have them. And I'm also gonna have inner text, and there we go, inner text. Don't forget the housekeeping, and don't forget these commas, otherwise it's just gonna yell at you. So there we go. It's basically ready, almost ready, but I want to give some stylings and all these things, which we are gonna do in the next video, and we'll proceed after that. So I'll catch you up in the next video, and let's just proceed there.